people
Now
on.
that's new. You're
Yes.
asking Medicaid recipients to put some of their own skin in the game.
That would be part of our plan as we move forward.
Welcome to Policy, Not Politics. I'm your host, Ralph Bristol, and my guest today is Senator Paul Bailey, the chairman of the State Senate Commerce Committee. You, sir, are sponsoring a bill that would ask the federal government to block grant the Medicaid money coming to Tennessee. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, and thank you for the opportunity to be interviewed
Happy
about
to.
this.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Yes, so
So tell me, what are you specifically asking for?
well, basically, what we're asking is that the governor, if this legislation passed, this directs the governor to go to CMS, the federal government, which administers the Medicaid program, to block grant our Medicaid dollars to the state of Tennessee for us to be able to administer those dollars in a format that would be best for Tennesseans that are currently on the Medicaid program.
Are you asking them to increase the amount they block grant, or you ask for the same amount of money just coming in a different form? Or
The legislation is basically indexed for inflation and population growth, so it would not just be a set amount of money that we would receive each and every year. It would be dollars that would be coming to the state. Whatever our current dollars are coming in, we would maintain that, as well as whatever the inflationary growth or population
You're not
growth.
asking for an increase to cover more of the population.
That's correct. What we believe Tennessee can administer a program that is better for Tennesseans and not have the federal restrictions that currently we have under the TennCare program. So what we're wanting to do is cut a lot of the red tape out, a lot of the administrative costs that we currently have under our Medicaid program through CMS. We eliminate that, then the dollars that we save, we believe that we'll be able to cover more Tennesseans that are caught in that Obamacare donut hole.
You'll be able to cover more people with the same money.
More people with the same money.
The same number of people that you would have covered had we accepted the expansion of Obamacare.
Well,
Expansion of Medicaid under Obamacare.
we believe that we'll be able to continue to cover the same number of people that we currently have on TennCare. However, with the cost savings that we will see through just cutting the administrative red tape, we'll be able to offer more coverage for those that are, again, caught in that donut hole of Obamacare.
Quite a few more.
There's quite a few more, yes.
And so you will have to get pretty good savings then.
Yes, we believe that there will be. And is it going to be an immediate addition to the TennCare? That remains to be determined. We believe that once we have the ability to structure our program to where we can have co-pays and folks are basically having to have skin in the game, if you will, with their Medicaid program, just the cost savings alone will be able to help add additional people.
Now that's new. You're
Yes.
asking Medicaid recipients to put some of their own skin in the game.
That would be part of our plan as we move forward. The bill currently doesn't say that, but our hope is that the administration, working with the legislature, TennCare, and Medicaid, we would be able to structure a program where those people that are currently receiving Medicaid TennCare benefits, that they would ultimately have to have some skin in the game to remain on the program. Currently, there's not, and so we want to have those folks contributing to the program.
Does the bill contain any specificity on how the program should be restructured? What you're going to specifically do different in terms of delivering Medicaid?
Not at this time, it doesn't.
Would that be up to the governor or the legislature or both? Would that require another bill, perhaps?
Well, our hope,
down the road?
Yeah. Well, our hope is that if we were granted the waiver by CMS, that the administration, working alongside the legislature, would be able to craft the program that would be best for Tennessee. I mean, we've got 3 MCOs, managed care organizations, that are currently administering the TennCare program. They're also in the healthcare business. You have Blue Cross, Blue Shield, United, that are currently, as just 2 of the 3 MCOs that are currently managing this. They know how to manage healthcare. Working with TennCare, I think that they can help structure a solid program that will be able to help us save Tennessee money, as well as being able to provide more health care for those that currently don't have it.
You expect most of this savings to come in saved administrative costs or skin in the game from the Medicaid recipients?
Both.
In about equal proportions, or?
Well, again, some of that remains to be determined as to exactly what, how much we'll be able to ask for as far as those putting skin in the game, if you will, or having to pay copays. That would basically be based on your ability to pay. Currently, they don't have to pay anything, but with this program, I think we, again, could tailor a system that where if you had the ability to even pay 50 cents towards either a prescription or an office visit, could end up saving Tennessee thousands of dollars.
Do you have some idea now where the unnecessary spending is, where the savings can be realized from the administrative side?
Well, we believe that there's a lot of unnecessary administrative costs that the federal government has placed on our TennCare program, that if we're able to eliminate just having to do those administrative portions, that it would ultimately save us. I mean, there are programs within TennCare that force us to spend dollars that we wouldn't otherwise have to spend, just basically working through the MCOs by them having to administer the program. Now, we're still going to have those MCOs administer the program, but at the same time, we believe that we'll be able to save the money through having those federal restrictions released from us.
Is there a precedent from other states? Have other states done exactly what you are asking to do?
No, we are.
Tennessee would be first.
Tennessee would be first, and you know, and that's what we want to do. We have proven over the last 8 years that we can manage the state in a very conservative financial, fiscal way, and we believe that if we're able to take on the block grants for TennCare, that we'll be able to administer the TennCare program in the same way that we have run the state over the last several years, and bring those savings to this program to be able to help more Tennesseans.
If you could, with the same amount of money, cover the more people that you're talking about, you have an idea of how many more people that you should be able to cover by getting a block grant and realizing these savings?
I can't give you a number on that, and I do not want to give you a number on that. We hope that we can increase that number steadily over time. Currently, Ralph, for your information, 26% of our general fund is currently spent on TennCare. About 31 to 32% of our entire state's budget is spent on TennCare. So roughly a third of the entire $30+ billion budget is on TennCare.
The biggest item.
It's the biggest
bigger
item.
Than education, or at least it may not be bigger than secondary and higher education together, but it's bigger than K through 12.
Right.
Isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's the largest animal that we have to deal with, and again, this would be something that would be groundbreaking for states to be able to bring in block grants to help administer their Medicaid programs without having, again, to take expansion dollars from the federal government. Because, here's the whole thing. Whenever we were talking about Medicaid expansion during the Haslam administration, the problem is that, yes, they were guaranteeing that they were going to pay 100% of adding those people on
For a certain number of
for
years,
for a certain number of years, 2 to 3 years, and then we were at 10%.
But it was still going to cost more tax dollars. Maybe not more Tennessee tax dollars, but more tax dollars total.
Sure.
We all pay federal taxes too.
Right.
So
It was going to increase. It was going to $1.4 billion is basically what it was going to increase the state's budget. Now that's federal dollars coming down, but Tennessee taxpayer dollars matching that, so it still equals $1.4 billion. So again, my point is if we go to 10%. A match on that, that's $140 million that Tennesseans are going to have to pay, and then 5 to 6 years after that, we were going to 20%, so we're at $280 million. It never stopped growing as far as the way Tennesseans were going to have to contribute to that. And that's the reason
now, I think we can anticipate quite a bit of opposition from today's recipients of Medicaid if you're going to tell them in the future you're going to have to put more of your own skin in the game. In other words, we're going to increase the cost to the patients. They're not going to like that. What are you going to say to them when they come to you in mass to your committee meetings and protest this proposed increased cost to them?
Well, first and foremost, as I've mentioned earlier in the interview, is that we want to tailor a program that's best for Tennessee. And if you have the ability to pay, and that could be, again, I say a 50-cent copay to a $25 copay. If you have the ability to make a 50-cent copay or up to a $25 copay or wherever we ultimately settle in that, it'll be based on your ability to pay. Obviously, if you're in a situation to where you're financially strapped and you can't make a copay, then your coverage would remain the same and you would continue to receive benefits at no cost to you. But if you have the ability to pay, in my opinion, you need to be paying something for your health care. You know, as an employer myself, did I like having to increase my employees' cost of their benefit, their health care benefit? No, I didn't. But after Obamacare was passed, I saw a 70% increase to my health care in my own company, and I couldn't absorb all of it and had to pass it on to the employees. They didn't like it, but they had to accept it.
Now, the healthcare providers may also not like it because they want Medicaid reform to include spending a lot more money on health care in Tennessee. You're not going to be spending more money on health care in Tennessee, but you're going to be covering more people. They might think, now we've got to cover even more patients, but not receive more money.
Well,
what do you tell them?
Well, currently the way the MCOs, we're basically block granting money to the MCOs. The state of Tennessee block grants the TennCare dollars to the MCOs, and we basically tell them that, hey, you have this amount of money to cover the population, that's the Medicaid population that's in your program. And so they're currently using what they call episodes of care to try to save as much money as they can. TennCare is basically telling those MCOs wherever you can help save money within your program, you save money. So they're already working in the current system to save as much money as they can in delivering health care to various people. That's the reason you find from time to time, I tell you what's sad is when you have a mother and a father who has a disabled child that's currently on TennCare sit in this office and tell me that they have to get a divorce so that they can continue to cover a disabled child that was born that way, but yet because the father had gone out and got a better job to try to make sure that his wife could be the caretaker of the child 24/7, but yet because he got a better job, she's having to get a divorce so she can maintain coverage because he can't get coverage in the traditional market. So because those MCOs that we're talking about have basically moved those type patients out of the so they're already purging the rolls from time to time, and we have given them the ability to do that.
Have you received any feedback yet? It wasn't today that you introduced this legislation. There's been some time since you first came up with this. Have you received feedback either from recipients or healthcare providers about what they think of your idea to block grant
Sure.
basically the same amount of money and try to find savings so that you can cover
Sure.
more people with the same amount?
Well, as chair of the Commerce Committee, I have a standing committee every week with insurance providers and the MCOs that currently are taking care of TennCare recipients now. They all are fully aware of the bill. They would all like to weigh in and offer suggestions as we get, if the bill passes. They want to be at the table. They want to be helping to advise us, the legislature, and the administration on how they best think that a program could be restructured. But in reality, we have not received any pushback from anyone. I think that they think it's an innovative idea. They know that Tennessee has held true on its promises over the last several years of being a fiscally conservative state and managing the state well, and I think that they believe that we can continue to do that.
You don't expect a fiscal note on this bill if what you just told me is the way it passes. Do you expect a fiscal note? Is it going to increase the cost to Tennessee taxpayers?
No, it shouldn't increase the cost. There shouldn't be a if we receive a fiscal note on the bill, then it should be equal to what we're currently receiving from the federal government. So it should ultimately, if the bill passed, then it would be a wash. In other words, we're asking for the same dollars that we currently receive. We'd be contributing the same amount of dollars that we're currently receiving. So it ultimately should just be a wash.
Senator Bailey, thank you. Senator Paul Bailey, Chairman of the Commerce Committee. You've been listening to Policy, Not Politics, a podcast dedicated to discussing the pros and cons of public policy with the leaders we elect to make policy for the people of Tennessee. I'm Ralph Bristol. Thanks for listening. Invite your friends to do likewise. Click that share button or on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, and watch for the next edition of Policy, Not Politics.